Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Today we have a new guest. I always wanted to have him on, and finally I have some downtime. And Dees, what's going on?
Listen,
Deesvintage128 from Instagram. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you, bro. I've been a long time follower of yours. Actually, I've been following you since the beginning. Before you had 1,000 followers, I'm one of those guys that got seriously back in the hobby in 2019 and right before it took off. So I was there before the YouTube influencer wave happened. And I remember you were one of the earlier ones during the pandemic when it first started happening again. It was only a handful. Now I can't keep up.
Right, right,
There's so many damn YouTube sports card influencers. I don't know who's who anymore. But in the early phases, it was just a handful of you guys, and you stood out to me the most. I stuck with you. I only stuck with a few because they were starting to lean too much into the industry space where everything was just positive and everything was just happy. And I noticed with you, I stuck around with a few of the channels. The rest I unfollowed, but you were the first one to go off the wagon to say, you know what, something isn't right. Like, yeah, we're all enjoying this 2020 boom,
right.
but it's just not right now. You the first. If you're not the first, you were one of the first people that I noticed to do that trend. So I was like, damn, AIH is he's going against the grain because I mean we were all happy back in 2020 when it all started. Everything were going, the prices were skyrocketing, and but I noticed like this, I don't know how long this could last. I started noticing the gambling aspect of the hobby, and no one would talk about it during that early crop of sports card influencers, and you were one of them, and you were the first one to break the mold. So I always remember that. So that's why I just pretty much always stuck with you, and
Yeah,
followed your content.
there was SCR, and besides maybe SCR and me, I think Dan came a little later and Professor a little
Yeah,
later on. And now everyone is, going against the grain, which is a good thing. But,
yeah,
it's Johnny come lately. But I think this
yeah,
cardboard life on Instagram, but there were only a few pushback channels. And I noticed something in February and March. It just seemed off. So something just was
yeah,
off. We were making money hand over fist. It was great.
yeah,
But then I'm
yeah.
like, doesn't add up. Doesn't add up.
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah.
remember those days. So
Yeah. Those
yeah,
are,
now
those are,
I don't know who there's so many goddamn influencers right now. I'm
right.
like, damn, who is this person?
Right.
So I've kind of like I've been turned off by the whole sports card hobby and the influencer era. It's been a turn off. So I collect. I'm old school, so I don't put everything on social media.
Right.
But I'm just so turned off by the space right now.
Yeah, same here. I only follow just a
Yeah.
few individuals. I'm doing my own thing now, but I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you though, since you're here for the first time, how did you get into this hobby?
Great question. So I started collecting in junior high school. So I would say sixth grade. What really, really brought me into the hobby, I'll never forget it. It was the fifth grade. I remember the guy name, his name was Jabron Alvarado. He brought a binder of Jordan cards. Everything was just Jordan, 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 Jordan. And I remember just being mesmerized by it. And I always told myself, I have to have that. I have to, whatever that is, because I didn't really know too much about the sports card hobby. I just
Right.
was so infatuated with this guy's Jordan binder. So I said, you know what? I have to do whatever that was. I have to do it. I didn't even want to touch it. I didn't know anything really much about value. I just was so mesmerized by the guy's cards. So I started really, really in the sixth grade. So we're talking maybe 1994. So I started off with these cards called Rare Air Jordan cards. They were only $1, but it was my way, it was my entry into the hobby. So I started off with the Rare Air Jordan cards because I wanted a Jordan binder just like Jabron. And I started off that way. And then you had 1995 with Grant Hill. I mean, it's so funny. We think about the hobby now. If you're a rookie, your prices they skyrocket. I can only imagine how many people would have lost money invested into Grant Hill, Joe Smith, Jason Kidd in like 1995 and 1994 when those were the hottest rookies out. I mean, people would have lost tons of money. It's like $30,000 on Joe Smith cards. If you think about it, that's essentially what these guys are doing. Like I love Cooper Flag, but he hasn't won anything, you
Right.
know. And millions of dollars on a Grant Hill card. It's just interesting to see how much things change. But yeah, 1995, and then a really great year in the hobby was 1996. So, I was a big time collector during that 96 NBA draft class, Allen Iverson and the rest of those guys, Kobe Bryant. So that was a great year. So I had a lot of key gems from that era. And ever since then, I just always loved the hobby, and I really messed up because in high school I kind of got out of it, but I told myself I would collect a rookie card of the hottest rookie every single year, meaning that I wouldn't completely buy a bunch of sports cards, but I would buy the hottest rookie. And I never did it, which I regret because I missed the whole '03 Carmelo Anthony LeBron wave. And if I would have stuck to my plan in high school, I would have had those top cards from 2003.
Yeah, hey, we could have been really rich if we all did
Uh,
that. And
yeah.
just imagine turning back the clock. If people are paying $3 million for what, Cooper Flag or whatever,
Mhm.
what about like Vince Carter? How much would they have shelled for him in what, 1998?
Exactly. Exactly. Vince Carter. They would have blew a ton of money on
Money.
Vince Carter. And you think about Adam Morrison. With this hype market right now, they would have blew a ton of money on Adam Morrison cards. So
Greg
it,
Oden,
it,
remember him?
Greg Oden, yep, Greg Oden. They would have blew a bunch of money on Greg Oden. It's insane, man. It's really insane the way things are right now.
Do you have any things to show off from your past or anything that you're collecting right
Yeah,
now?
so I collect everything.
Yeah.
I collect everything. It's so funny. I've been looking at some of your Instagram posts and now I can't find a damn card. But you've
Yeah.
been talking about more pop culture stuff. And there was a pop culture card that you talked about a while back. It was kind of controversial, but I actually think it's a big time card. I'm not sure if you have it in your collection, but I still have it. It was the Killmonger PMG with Michael B.
Oh yeah,
Jordan.
yeah, right.
Do you have that? Do
No,
you still
no,
have, do you?
it was Dan. I think Dan made like
Okay.
some sort of like Instagram.
Yeah.
That was a while back, but
Yeah, I
yeah, he
remember.
took
See?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because the way the hobby is now, these cards they stood the test of time, like especially with the pop culture thing and how it's like it's exploited. I mean, Michael B. Jordan just won an Oscar. He has this new movie. He's pretty much the new Black James Bond. This new movie that's about to come out. So I'm glad I got this when
Yeah.
you were talking about it.
It was Dan.
I'm glad I got it because it stood the test of time. So
Okay, there you go.
I'm glad I kept that card, and
Right.
the way again we talking about pop culture.
Right, right.
This was big during the 2020, the Will Smith
Oh
rookie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Will
I
Smith
feel like
rookie. I
this is going.
forgot about that.
Yeah, see, I'm going back.
Do
These
you
cards. Go ahead,
remember when he punched what's his name? Chris
Chris
Rock? Did,
Rock.
did his
Yep,
cards go up in value after that? I don't remember. It was so long
I
ago.
believe so. I believe so. Yeah, and they definitely will now because everything is so hyped up.
Oh yeah, right now
My
we're
thing.
it's yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just one thing I hate right now is it's just so it's too many. I like when the hobby was a little exclusive
Yeah.
and everybody wasn't in it. Now it's just too saturated. So I miss just finding a rare gem and it's not overly populated. Everybody doesn't want it. You don't have too much competition. But right now, I feel like just everything is just completely saturated, which I guess is good because they hype anything up. Again, the Killmonger PMG, the Will Smith rookie PSA 9. I'm sure if anything controversial happens or if they make the headlines, especially now that we have this new wave of YouTube influencers, they just gonna blow the card up. So they're just gonna make the value explode. So I guess it's good in those terms.
Yeah, you talk about influencers. So
Yep.
here's the thing, someone I want to give the other side of this story because I mean we
Yep.
think alike, but some people will be like, what's wrong with influencers? They do that with all sorts
Yeah.
of brands, and here they're just doing the same thing with cars. They just want to get more people. They get paid off or whatever. They work for someone, and they're just basically promoting the hobby and getting more people in. So, what would you say to someone who would say something like that?
Um, it's good. It's good that they're getting more people in, but it used to be a hobby. So being that we have more influencers now and there's way more people in it, the culture of collecting and the hobby of collecting seems dead to me. Again, this is a new term that people have been using, saying it's the difference between a sports card industry and a sports card hobby. It seems now like it's an industry. I mean, everything that I see is flip, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. There's no story behind the cards. So using the term hobby is just lazy. It's to me, it's a cliche term. It's like in politics when people say the left, the right. I think it's just so easy to just use these coin terms that you just use constantly. It's not a hobby anymore. If you look at a sports card hobby video, and it's mostly willing and dealing, and it's a guy at the table negotiating deals all day. What the hell does that have to do with the hobby of the sports card? There's no story behind it. There's no history. It's just you making deals. That's not a hobby. That's an industry. That's hustling. You making sports card hustling content. I'd rather you call it that. Hobby is when you collect a card with meaning, a story, a history. And I'm not against people making money, but usually, especially back in the days, it was like I'll collect this, and in the long term, it will hold value. In the long term, I can sell it or I can pass it down to my children, my grandchildren. I'm not sure if you saw this latest story of a Nintendo collector. He had a bunch of Nintendo cartridges, and his house got broken into, and they stole everything. And he was saying how he wished he would have left this to his grandkids for college. Now that's a hobby. That's what I'm into. So this new wave of getting everybody into the industry, it's just more of a business. It's more of a hustle culture, and that's what I don't like. That's what I just it makes it real scumbaggy, and that's why you have the stories that we have and of more theft and you know. I remember there was a guy named Sports Car Therapist. He did some scumbag shit and he left the hobby. So that's what it creates when it's all about money, hustle, and that whole type of culture. And you get away from the hobby, you get a scumbaggy type place, and I'm just not a big fan of it.
Speaking of Mr. Megabid, sports car therapist, what he did was nothing. Like it,
Uh-huh.
we've looked at a lot of things over the past few years, and I'm just looking at okay, some dude selling fake slabs of $350 million. Okay, that's there's something wrong with that. I think is like autograph
Yeah.
authentication,
Mm-hmm.
card porn. What he did was real scumbaggy. We
Mm-hmm.
had these pump and dumpers. Yeah, that's scumbaggy. Like the shill
Mm-hmm.
bidders, as much as I used to go crazy on them, they're nothing compared to the fraud that we see.
That
And
is
like
true. But that,
the fake slabs at these shows,
oh man.
yeah, it's and some people like rail on me like you don't go to shows. Well, one dude just got arrested, or I think he got sentenced this year for basically changing
Mm-hmm.
the slabs in the cards. So yeah, I'll go to the shows. I went to the National, but I'm not going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars in them. I mean, if I see a nice card, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'll buy it, but I buy on eBay. That's what I do, and where it's quiet.
Yep.
And like talking about collection, I know some people say that I don't collect. I don't know if you can even see it. Uh,
It's a little blurry.
Yeah, it's a little blurry. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it
I
now?
see it. It looks like Kobe.
No, it's not Kobe.
Am I reading? Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
It's just blurry.
It's blurry. Oh man, I have to change it later, but I'll show you. But anyways, it was a Scottie Pippen 1993 club card. It's autographed, and the
Okay.
thing is, um, you know, in terms of collecting, like you're saying that no one wants to collect anymore. Everyone wants to talk about money. I do talk about market trends, but it's a little bit of everything. I'm on one side, I'm collecting, one side I'm speculating, one side I'm just having fun. And I don't think we see that with a lot of content creators. I don't know if you observe the same thing, but that's what kind of turns me off. There's no story. And lately I've been buying tickets, and this is for the long term, but there's a story behind it. I bought, all these Brady tickets because that's history. I think Brady started as what the seventh string quarterback at Michigan, and he wound up as a starter. I think that's a story you can tell the next generation. And sure,
Oh
down
yeah.
the road, it's probably going to go higher because no one's buying tickets, but I don't see that anymore. With the card, it's like, okay, how can I swindle the next guy or gal? And that's just totally a turnoff for me.
I mean,
And
think about
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
when did you start collecting?
When I was probably third or fourth grade, I got some
Okay.
cards from my cousin. He didn't want his baseball cards, and that just opened up the door to just then buying basketball cards. I think I showed it a while back, but I remember I have like some of these Raptors cards with Vince Carter, some of these Bulls cards from the 90s. So I was doing that as a kid. I'm also into baseball, so I had like a Mark McGuire card. So I was pretty enthusiastic about that. But then over time, I got back in 2018 and I was at an antique shop and then I saw this one baseball card and I'm like, okay, I need to get back into it. Something's up with this. Like no one's talking about cards anymore. They said that cards are dead. I'm like, no, I'm gonna look into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did get more into the investing side earlier on, but as time turned on, I mean, as time passed, I'm like, there's something wrong with this industry. And they're pulling off some sort of swindle right now. So I'm just gonna chill. And then I saw all these stories about fraud. Then I saw Sports Card Radio. At first, I got turned off by them, but then I'm like, wait, they're onto something. They can see something
Yeah.
that we haven't seen. And I didn't know about the PWCC story back in the day. Do you
Hmm.
remember that with all those trim cards and all that in
Yeah.
2019?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Yeah.
never heard of it because I used to praise you said that you watched my earlier videos. I used to
Yeah.
praise PWCC all the time. And
Hmm.
now we know what happened with them. Do you remember they were lending like some 16-year-old, like his dad was like a millionaire at the time, but it was
Hmm.
like $80,000 for like John Morant cards or something like that. This was
That's
before all,
crazy.
yeah, that's what they're doing. And I think part of the reason why sports cards have gone up is because they're lending money so people could buy these cards. So what happens when, the carpet gets pulled under? Same exact thing. Like you see these Mickey Mouse cards, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still following
I,
it. It's like what,
yeah.
$30,000 or something like that.
I
It's
mean,
unreal.
I mean, they did that with Marvel. I
Oh
remember,
yeah, the pump and dump, like
yeah,
yeah,
I remember when it first happened when I think he was calling himself Spidey Jew at the time, and it was the great curator. They sat at a picnic table, and I saw the day when they said, you know what, we're just gonna make Marvel the hottest shit out, and we're gonna make this something, and it happened actually. So I've seen it. I've seen how they just say, you know what, this market is untapped, but we believe in it. And we're just gonna pump it,
yeah.
and
There was apparently some sort of Facebook group back in the day, from what I was told. Like
mhm,
multiple people told me, and these are content creators, and they were basically saying, "Let's pump this to the moon, and sell it to our audience so we could like run out like bandits." So that's why I was like
yeah.
super pissed off during that time frame because they were engaging in like all sorts of shady behavior. But they're as crazy as it sounds, they're minuscule to the amount of fraud in this hobby, which,
Those are the beginning stages. Are like we were talking about therapists, and we
yeah,
talked about shield bidding, and you said that's
yeah,
nothing. But
yeah,
in the early days, that was cardinal sin. We were creating
yeah,
the commandments. As it blew up, we were just making you. altering the cards, that was a big thing during the early,
Right.
I say early days, I'm talking about 2020 when the
Yeah.
boom started.
Right.
You couldn't alter your cards. I mean, that was a big thing, and shield betting was the number one thing you could not do. So that's why he caught so much slack because of that. But now it just has manifested 6 years later. Now it's fake slabs and everything, fake cards. So it just progresses, and this is the issue. Back to your original point of now that we have so many people in it, we have all these influencers. They they gotten away from what the hobby was intended for, and it just in the beginning it was just about collecting. Back in the days when we purchased a sports card blaster box or any type of box, we never said during that time, did I make my money back? That was not a thought. If you open up a pack of cards, did I make my money back? You were just appreciative of the cards you got. You may have gotten a good card, you probably didn't, but and again, the cost was so low, it didn't even matter. But the whole point of opening a box of cards and asking yourself, did I get my money back, was unheard of. I never thought like that before
Yeah.
until now and until this current time. But I guess you have to because everything is so damn high.
Yeah,
So I guess you
exactly.
have to think that way now.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, you may need
Yeah.
to buy something, sell it to buy something that you really want in your collection.
Yeah.
And
I get
that's
yeah,
unfortunate.
I get
And that's the crazy part. And I have to deal with crazies sometimes. And talking about potential money laundering in this hobby.
yeah.
And you were a cop, right? At one point.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep, retired
Reti-
NYPD, yep.
yeah, exactly. So that's why you probably don't like half the, I mean, 70%, 75% of the things going on. And,
Yeah,
if you have what money laundering or the feds buying up these cards, it's like, this is not what we were, third grade. This is not what we got into. And I don't want to be like completely negative about the hobby because it's still a good pastime. I could have conversations with you, I could have conversations
yep,
with other people, even if I don't agree with them. It's still, a way to clear your mind and to de-stress. You don't need
I
to
agree.
obvious, yeah, you don't need to obviously get riled up. But yeah, it's just wild.
I
Yep.
agree. It's just hard to look at sometimes because again, if you, I mean, when you've collected as a kid, and even I got in right before the boom again, 2019. Got in because I was watching a Netflix special called Slobby Robbie, and it piqued my interest again. And I said, you know what, I want to get back into collecting sports cards, and it just felt good. And the prices were affordable then too. I mean, I was buying singles of '86 Flair. I'm a LCS, dirt cheap. I mean, you could just get, it was such a different space, even in 2019.
Right. Everything was
It's
dirt
just
cheap.
yeah, yeah. It's just I don't know. It's just hard to see. Like I like chasing cardboard. I like that type of stuff where there's a story and there's a meaning to the collection. But the in and out, quick flip, hustle culture, I just don't like it at all. To me, it has nothing to do with cards. I think that's just my biggest thing. It's cool. You're making money, but there's you're in this hobby, but I guess I'm sound like the old guy, but you just have no compassion for it. You don't care. And I envy those guys. I wish I could buy cards and not care and just sell and flip and hustle everything. I wish I was one of those guys because I've had some key gems and I refuse to sell. Um, I have a Cooper flag collection. I'm originally from New York City, but I live in Maine. And since now that I live in Maine, I love Maine. It changed my life. And there's people who've questioned me like, why would you move to Maine? Um, but moving to Maine has been the best thing pretty much for my life. Long story short, I moved to Maine and we happened to have the number one basketball player in the world called Cooper Flag. To me, it's like, what's the coincidence of that? I moved to Maine and we get Cooper Flag, and during the time period that I moved here. So again, when that happened, I already knew anything Cooper Flag I'm buying. I'm not going to overly extend myself, but I'm going to make sure I get his key cards. But I wish I didn't give a damn and say, you know what, I have a Cooper Flag refractor. Let me just sell this. but I just can't do it. I wish I had it in me. I do envy those guys who don't give a damn about the cars and can just make money all day. I wish I had it in me, but I'm old. I'm too old school. I love what I collect, man. So it's tough for me.
How did you figure out that Cooper Flag was going to be like one of the next best things in the NBA? I'm like, wait, like you were talking about Cooper Flag and Maine. I'm like, who's Cooper Flag? And then I saw, oh wait, he said Duke, and then like, oh
Yep.
wait, he's the first pick in the NBA draft. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
you pick up on trends way before the crowd. So I like
Before it
following.
hits.
I
Yep.
like following guys like you because you can spot trends, and that's a good thing. I mean, you were talking about the WNBA, I think a couple of years ago. I didn't know who Caitlin
Yep.
Clark was. I didn't know who
Yep.
Angel Reese was. And, they're
Yep.
two top names in the WNBA. And I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I need
Yeah.
to definitely
I
look
love
at
that.
you
And
because
I
you're
appreciate
going to talk about things way ahead of time.
and you know what I love that you said. I really appreciate you bringing that up. But what I love about what I do is that I make content and I talk about things that you can take advantage of, that the average person can take advantage of. I don't make content. I spent $30,000 on a card. I spent I got this card for 20K. What I talk about, if you just act on it, all you have to do is act on it. You can afford it. I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
Not sure if you can see this. You see this? The
totally, man.
Coca-Cola 250 bottle, 250-year anniversary Coca-Cola. I got this at the grocery store. This is the difference between my content and everybody else. The person who's watching your show right now can go to the local grocery store, buy this for $5 and just hold it. And just hold it.
That is wild.
And
That
you
is
have a
one of the
gem.
that is amazing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome story. Yeah,
And
and I need to go
and
buy that now.
exactly. But this is why I appreciate myself because social media is all about vanity and just showing how much you have more than the next person. I take pride of finding trends early, but not only finding trends early, that the people who watch my stuff they can go and get it and have these gems, and it's not going to break the bank. All you have to do is just act. Now, if you watch my stuff and you wait a long time, then you might be screwed. But if you watch my stuff and I show you a gem, just go and get it. And I love that. I mean, you watch these guys, I can't afford the stuff they show, if you I was watching Jeff Wilson the other day, he got this star collection. I can't afford that stuff. But you can go to the local grocery store and get the Coca-Cola 250th America anniversary bottles. $5 at the grocery and just hold it. Just
Yeah,
hold it. That's it.
that's awesome. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that channels like yours don't get promoted. It's always the
No.
scumbags. It's
Because
like it's like freaking Ken Golden and what that douchebag Logan Paul.
yeah.
His past, we all know he's done shady things.
Mhm.
And they're jumping around this Pokemon sale, which is a PSA what? In technicality, it's a PSA 9, but they're saying it's a PSA
Mhm.
10 because PSA said it's a PSA 10. And then after that, I just noticed like, oh crap, all these cards 4x, 5x. Because if Pokemon is worth 16 million, an illustrator card, what is everything else? So like, yeah,
Yeah.
I really hate that type of stuff. I know like people will say, well, you interviewed Ken Golden during the card porn thing. Yeah, I did. But that was, just to get information for the future, which actually it did help when my
Yeah.
channel got striked,
Mhm.
which I think it was card porn of all people that may have struck it. You
Yep.
know what I think may have happened was this his other account, Street Art Globe. Do you remember
Mhm.
that? So he
I
has
remember
15
that
million.
one.
Yeah, yeah. So he has a couple of channels, Food Porn and Street Art Globe. Dude was like looking at my Instagram channels like right after I got those copyright strikes. I'm like,
Wow.
is yeah, it may have been someone else. It may have been because I was talking
Hmm.
about Mickey Mantle card being
Yeah.
sold for a ridiculous amount of money. But I don't know. It's just weird. It's just bizarre. But yeah, there's
Yeah. It's it.
scumbags in this hobby. But like you said, just because they're scumbags and trashy behavior, you could buy that Coca-Cola thing for like what, $5.
Exactly. And it goes back to the origination of what the hobby is about. It wasn't about quick flips and hustles and turnovers. It was about buying um, a piece that had history to it, that there was a story behind it, and you just hold it, and it just increased in value. I mean, again, I'll show it again. I mean, Coca Cola, what's more America than Coca Cola? That's a number one brand, 250 years. You know, and it's right there. No one's talking about it, but this is the stuff that appreciates in value, and again, it goes back to what the hobby is about, and
Nope.
that's what I miss. That's what I miss.
I want to ask you
Love some.
this. Rolling
Hmm.
with FD asked me like some random questions. He used to just throw
Yep.
out a name and then I used to just comment on it. So I'll do the same with you. So
Yep.
if I mention Gary V, what do you think when you hear of Gary V?
Okay. Gary V. Gary V. Gary V. Actually used to like Gary V a lot. I was a big, so I would credit Gary V and Slobby Robbie from the Netflix special for getting me back in the hobby. I feel like Gary V is a great person to motivate you at times. But then when you kind of mature into the hobby, or once Gary V gets you over that hump, you start to see that he's kind of full of crap. I mean, I still like him in some ways. I don't really watch his content, but he would say certain things, and I'm like, okay, Gary V he's the king of the pump and dump. He said something that really pissed me off one day.
Do
I,
you
I
remember?
remember sharing it on Instagram. It was about school or some stupid shit he said. Like, you don't need school, you just
Cool.
need to hustle. Yeah, something to that extent, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I just let it go. I just stopped really following him from that standpoint. And even his V friends, I almost feel like he was like, oh, I'm the Pied Piper of the sports card hobby. If I can get these people to spend all of this money, and I remember he had the Rock. He made the Rock card just go crazy in value. So I figured that was V Friends was his way of saying I can do anything to these people and they'll buy it. So let me just create my own product and just have them spend a ton of money on that. And you don't even hear about V Friends anymore, but it was things like that that turned me away. But I feel like he's a great motivator. You just have to watch it. You just can't trust every word that he says.
I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, he was people were accusing him, like myself too, that hey, look, he may have taken some of the characters from a Karen Ritchie book. I think it's like Gratitude Gorilla and something else.
I
And then
remember that.
it got
Remember
so
that.
weird that
Yeah,
Darren Revalve interviewed him about it. So yeah, I don't know if he stole it, but it was weird.
I
It
remember
could have
that
been a
controversy.
coincidence.
I
Could have been
remember
a
that.
coincidence. But speaking of
Yeah.
coincidences, why do you think so many people are naive in this hobby? Like we've exchanged some messages back in the day about loaded
Yeah.
boxes. It's like it's obvious they're doing it for marketing, but people are saying, "Oh, well, that's a conspiracy theory." Oh, well, they have an audit, but that audit first of all is not talking about marketing purposes. It's talking about distribution. Why do you think people are so naive about this?
I think it's the Johnny come lately syndrome. They feel good. It's new to them. I mean, at this point, we're the old guys in the hobby. I mean, we're the vets. Even if to me, even though if you started if you were here during the boom 2020 and stayed around, you're a vet. I mean, we got people coming in 2025, 2024, 2026. And then it's that Johnny come lately mentality. So they came in 2026, they watched a bunch of Jeff Wilson videos, and now they know everything about the hobby. So a guy like you who was in here for a while, you know nothing because they've watched 10 Jeff Wilson videos in a row. So now they're the experts. And that this new aspect of the hobby makes you naive. It's they came in on the flip culture and the hustle culture. So if you talk against any of the industry people who, again, they came in under Jeff, they came in under Sports Car Dad, it just Car Collector too. So if you speak against those people, I mean, if you type in sports cards, the first people you're going to see is Jeff and Car Collector too. So how dare you speak against their heroes? So that's what makes them naive, because those guys are tools of the industry. So
Yeah.
that's why they're so naive. That's why they don't believe there's loaded boxes. I mean, because again, they just came in. Jeff Wilson is their professor. Carl Collector Two is their professor. And if you talk against the grain, you're the bad guy, and they believe it. So that's pretty much what's happening right now.
I mean, a lot of people like they go to YouTube if they're newbies, they see Jeff Wilson, Card Collector 2, and some of the other channels that you mentioned before. They don't know their past. Like they probably haven't watched sports card radios videos or some other pushback content saying like, well, Jeff Wilson, tried to sue over some crazy things, about PPP loans or Jeff Wilson. I did a video on Instagram. He was pumping Star 84. He says, "Hey, look at this card value go up. It's my card." He actually sold it to another individual at the time. And he says, "Look at how much I've made in value." And he was talking about another card on Golden, which wasn't his card. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
dude's doing well the past couple of years. Okay, I was wrong
Mm-hmm.
on that. I didn't expect this to boom like it did, but it's just like I don't know why he has to lie about it. I mean, people are coming
Yeah.
after him, but that's what I don't understand.
He's
I don't
part
get
of
it
the
all.
industry. He's part of the industry. I mean, look at your channel. If they came in 2025, 2024, 2026, I mean, look how YouTube treats your channel where they shadow ban it all of
Yeah,
the time. They would have no idea that you were one of the original channels during the boom. I mean, you were there with Neo, Sports Card Dad, the rest of them. I mean, you Brad the comeback card collector. I mean, you were there, but they wouldn't notice if they came to your channel currently. They would think
yeah,
you were just some random dude just hating on the industry. But they have no idea that you started off with all those guys. You just shifted. You just shifted, and they kind of continue playing with the industry. Everything is good.
right,
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with making money. Take
right,
off the tinfoil hats.
right.
So they have no idea. I mean, like I said, I was there. I was just in the comments section. So that's why it's so funny that we're actually
Yeah,
having a conversation, because
right,
I was
right,
there. I just was in the comments section.
right,
So
right.
it's
Eh,
interesting to have this talk.
you have 10 to 15 more minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. I'm gonna
Yep.
send you another link because it's
Okay.
gonna end, but we could go on for like another minute or two, but before it
Cool.
ends. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the shadow banning, all that stuff. I was talking about like some topics that probably got me shadow banned in some of my lives, Bill Gates, Epstein, and all that stuff. And I think
Yeah.
that was one reason that hurt my channel. And I'm not monetizing my channel also, but yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know if you remember, Dustin had me on about what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Do you remember that?
I do. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
used to like Cage Lawyer also interviewed me too.
Yep.
There was a
Yep.
time they were willing to have a discussion with me. I don't care about this anymore. It used to bug me, but
Yep.
then over time, I was going after card porn and I did 30 videos regarding card porn. And none of these big channels, they shouted me out. So they did give me attribution, but none of them wanted to interview me or like go on a live with me. I'm like, that's very interesting. Where
Do-
before I was like a little, less aggressive and then I became aggressive. They don't want anything to do with me. So it's
Yeah.
really it's just really interesting how they don't promote even people like you. They just promote these scumbags.
Yeah, and I refuse to conform. So
Yeah, same here. Same
yeah, I
here.
refuse. And so I've just accepted it. I mean, I'm still in a hobby. You don't have to be an influencer to be in a sports card hobby, and you just don't have to do what they all of these guys do. I mean, I used to be again. I kind of got under the influence of everything that was going on, and at one point, I was a top rated seller on eBay. Now, if you look at my eBay account, I haven't sold a sports card in maybe